What's going on, Arizona Cardinals fans? It's Mitch here of TheBottomLineView, here to determine how many games the Cardinals will win in 2022. A very tricky team. A team that made the playoffs a year ago, but have they made enough adjustments to their team to do it once again in 2022? That is the question. I'll go game by game, matchup by matchup, and determine whether or not the Cardinals will be as good as they were a year ago, or maybe better. If that sounds good, Gronk, spike the like button, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more BLV just like this. Also, let me know in the comment section below how you feel the Cardinals will perform in 2022. What will their record be this regular season? Now, let's pick some games. Cardinals fans, it's time for your record prediction for 2022. It begins versus Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and the Kansas City Chiefs. I will say that's not the best team to start off at week one. Typically, the Chiefs and Andy Reid start the season hot, especially week one, and they play good football. The Cardinals can make this interesting. The debut of Marquise Hollywood Brown for the Cardinals. No DeAndre Hopkins. I just don't know if the Cardinals without D-Hop can win a shootout versus the Chiefs. And I do expect this to be a shootout. I do expect this to be back and forth. I will say Cliff Kingsbury is typically better at the beginning of the year, especially game plan wise and offensive schematic wise. But I will take the Chiefs here. I just think they're the better team all around. Maybe a little bit more reliable secondary on the back end of their defense than the Cardinals do. On top of that, I trust their coaches more. I also trust Mahomes more. Week 2, you play in Las Vegas, which is another tough game, versus another AFC West opponent. The Raiders have a great offense as well. Maybe a better offense than the Chiefs. Derek Carr's awesome. I like him a lot. Josh McDaniels as their new offensive coordinator, scheming up Darren Waller, Hunter Renfrow, and Devontae Adams. Not to mention Josh Jacobs and all the other weapons they have. The Raiders are tough, man, and that is a tough place to play, Las Vegas. Now, it is close, so that's nice. But I like the Raiders here. I think that they can win another shootout. So I think the Cardinals will be in a few shootouts here early in the year as they play 3 awesome offenses in a row. Week 3, they play the Rams. I can see them winning this game as a division game at home. I do think they'll beat the Rams once this year. They were embarrassed last year in the playoffs against the Rams. They did beat them early in the year last year. So I could see them winning this game here. But I'm actually going to say that the Rams win the first one and the Cardinals win the second one. The reason being, I think DeAndre Hopkins potentially coming back later in the year will help. I believe he'll be back by week 10. I'm not exactly sure what his suspension is. Is it 8 games or 10? But regardless, I do think they win one of the games. Just division rival. They know each other well. And the fact that they split last year, I think helps. Week 4, you play the Panthers, and you lost to the Panthers last year. I think this puts the Cardinals on notice. This is a huge game for them. If they are 0-3, I think this is that more important, right? That more important to win. So I think the Cardinals just can't go 0-4. I think they're going to beat the Panthers there in Carolina. Week 5, they play the Philadelphia Eagles. I think they beat the Eagles. The Eagles are tough. They're a good team. I think they're going to make the playoffs. I think they're going to win their division. They've got a strong offensive and defensive line, which will give the Cardinals some fits in the run game and defensively. But I just got a feeling this one is going to be a little bit of a Jalen Hurts, Kyler Murray show. I think Murray's going to be able to extend plays against that defensive line, get away from the pressure, and create some plays down the field. I also think there's ways to beat this team, a lot underneath. Kyler Murray can drop back, and Cliff Kingsbury is going to have all these different ways to get his playmakers over the middle of the field, and Kyler can, I think, have a really big day here. On the other side, I think if you can slow down the Eagles' ability to run, you can pressure Jalen Hurts and make some plays defensively, which is what the Cardinals' defense is good at. Week 6, you play the Seahawks on the road. I think the Seahawks I'm not sure if the Seahawks will beat the Cardinals this year, because I don't think they're very good. But you never know, man. I think the Seahawks are a division foe. They can play the Cardinals pretty tough. Pete Carroll is a respected coach. I'm going to say they split with the Seahawks as well. I'll say they win the first game, so they make themselves 3-3. And they lose the second game on the road. I think there is a chance that in one of these games, the Seahawks, whoever is quarterback, plays okay. And they can really run the ball. I think the Seahawks, with the Rashad Penny and with Kenneth Walker, who I love, I think they're going to be able to run the ball on some teams. And I think the familiarity of their defense knowing your offense will help them pull off one of these wins. Week 7, I got you beating the Saints at home on Thursday night. Saints are another tough team with a good defense. But I do think at home on a Thursday, you can pull that one off. Kyler Murray is going to have to play magical. And you're going to have to force some mistakes from Jameis Winston, which I think your defense can do. Again, I think the Cardinals do a good job of getting pressure on quarterbacks. I think that can cause Jameis to make some dumb plays. Week 8, you play the Vikings in Minnesota. I'm going to hold off on that one for a sec. I think I'm leaning the Vikings there, but I'll come back to that one. Week 11, you play Monday night against San Francisco. I think you beat the 49ers there at home. You beat them twice last year in the regular season. I do think they'll beat you later in the season, the last week of the season there. But I do think in one of these games against Trey Lance is not going to play very well. And I think when you have the better quarterback in these matchups, you'll win at least one, even if the other team is better coached and more talented, which is what the Niners are. But that was the case last year. So I just think because they have the better quarterback, Arizona, they'll win one of these games. Week 12, you play the Chargers. I think the Chargers are the better all-around team with the better quarterback, the better defense. I think they've got a good offense, and they can attack you in a multitude of ways. I think this is the type of team with the speed on the edge to contain Kyler Murray and the strength in the secondary to make life difficult on your offense. Then you got the bye week, and then I think you drop a game to Bill Belichick, who's a master game planner. This is the type and time of year, I should say, where Cliff Kingsbury typically starts to fall off. After this bye week, teams start to figure him out. That could happen again, but I will say you're just playing really good teams. You're playing the Chargers, you're playing the Niners, you're playing the Rams, you're playing the Broncos, you're playing the Bucks, the Patriots even. So those are really tough games. I think Mac Jones is a really smart quarterback who can decipher your defense quickly and get the ball out quick and find his matchups against your weak secondary. On the flip side, New England has a creative defense. They know how to contain quarterbacks in the pocket and make life difficult. They beat Kyler Murray and Cliff already 2 years ago, even with Cam Newton. So I think they could do it again. Week 15, I'm going to go with the Broncos here in Denver. I'm going to take Russell Wilson there. I think the Broncos are the better all-around roster. The Cardinals could win that game, but I think the Broncos have a strong defense with, very much like the Chargers, a strong secondary and a good edge rush. Week 16, the Bucks, I'm going to take them. This could be a little bit of an upset, but I mean, the Bucks are too good. I just think like Tom Brady, with all the weapons he's got against your secondary, is just a tough matchup, and you don't have a marquee pass rusher that can affect Brady. Week 17, you play Atlanta. I think you win that game. But I do think this end of the season here is really tough, and that might end up being the story of your season, despite maybe having a decent stretch here in the middle. So I have you at 7-10 for the season. I could see the Cardinals maxing out at 9-8, but I don't see this being a very good year for the Cardinals. I think they've gotten worse overall, especially defensively. And offensively, I'm just not overly excited about the coaching. And if DeAndre Hopkins was the whole season, I think I'd look at this team maybe closer to a wild card team, but that's not the case either. So I think the Cardinals are dropping this year, and that might cause some changes in the offseason. We will see. But that's how I feel about Arizona, 7-10. Tough schedule, tough division. You play not only the NFC West, but the AFC West, and then you also play the Eagles, the Vikings, the Saints, the Patriots. That is tough. And the Bucks. So, good luck. Thanks, guys, for watching. Peace.